Assalamu alaikum and hello guys, here is Usama Tahir and you have just switched to Learn English with Usama Tahir. As you know, we are making video lectures on different methods and approaches that you can use to teach and learn the second language. So today we are going to discuss about a methodology that was adopted in the second during the Second World War because of its quick, effective methodology. Because of it was very quick in giving the results, and it was very easy for on the hands of the learners as well as for the teachers. And America and other countries also called it army method because it was persuaded this method was emerged as a response to the army needs, because army needed a system, army needed a methodology in language learning that would facilitate their army officers and personals to learn indigenous and local languages quickly and to improve their communicative abilities in that language, not only the reading skills or the writing skills but the speaking and listening skills. So this method was called Audio-Lingual Method, which is also considered, which was also known as which was also known as the army method because it was used by the army. What were the important things in that method was pattern practice, different sentences were practiced, there were intense drillings and memorization of the patterns, sentences, phrases, vocabulary, etc. Okay, first of all, historical background of that method is World War II. Okay, there were different contributing factors in the emergence of this methodology, and the first one was World War II. World War II is one of the significant contributing factor in the emergence of the audiolingual method because during the World War II the need was felt to have a methodology of language teaching that is very quick, that should be very quick, that should be effective to teach local varieties, local languages very quickly within no time, and the results should be practical. So audiolingual method was used to teach German, French, Malay, Japanese and other local languages of armies because armies, enemies and allies wanted to communicate with each other, and they have to learn each other's languages for the communication. Next is Leonard Bloomfield is one of the greatest linguist who was a structural linguist that supports the structural elements of the language like morphology and the structure elements, and he made informant method. Before the audiolingual method, informant method was made that was similar somehow to the audiolingual method, and after that it paved the way for the development of audiolingual method. So Leonard Bloomfield is also one of the contributing factor in the emergence of audiolingual method. Next is B.F. Skinner. He was a psychologist who gave the behaviorist theory, which we discussed in previous video lectures, that says that anything can be learned by making it your behavior by the repeated training and practice, and that should be on the free will of the learner. So it's this method sees the language also as the part of the behavior, and also sees the language as the structure like Leonard Bloomfield. So these two personalities contributed in the emergence and in the development of audiolingual method. Next we have the increased attention given to foreign language learning in US. So in 1950s US was very concerned in teaching languages, and it was a popular subject in that era. So this was also one of the contributing factor. Okay, what is meant by theory of language? You need to understand first. Theory of language means what is the point of view of a method about language, that how a method sees a language. So audiolingual method sees language as the structural view. Language is based on the structural view. The theory of the language was structural view, because in audiolingual the structure is emphasized, the structure is memorized and repeat through drills. So it sees the language as a structure, okay, not as the communicative tool but as a structure, that it is a combination of different structures. Next is theory of language learning. So how a method sees the language learning is called theory of language learning, that how language should be taught, what are the beliefs of the methods with respect to how language should be taught is called theory of language learning. And in Audiolingual we believe in behaviorism, that language should be taught like other behaviors. The language should be added to your behavior with the repeated training drills. The new language will become the part of your behavior. So this is how Audiolingual method integrated with the behaviorism, and B.F. Skinner became the contributing factor in the emergence and the development of that method. Next we have key features of Audiolingual methods. Like we discussed in previous lectures about the key features of every method. The first one is medium of instruction will be target language. The basic similarity between the direct method and the Audiolingual method is that of target language will be used in the classroom. There would be no use of the native language in the direct method, but in Audiolingual method you can use, but mostly the target language is used as a mode of instruction or the reference. Next we have teacher centered. This method is teacher centered. Because teacher will be the dominating factor in the classroom. He will conduct the drills, exercises, and he will utter sentences which students will repeat after the teacher. The teacher is the important and integral part in that methodology. Next is mechanical habit formation activity. Mechanical habit formation activity means teacher will repeat the phrases, sentences again and again, and students will repeat mechanically. It's like a mechanical habit formation, that habits will be formed in a mechanical manner. Next is oral repetition. Orally sentences will be repeated, and memorization will be done on the scripted dialogues. Dialogues would be scripted, like this is our chair. Student will repeat it. Student will repeat again and again, and they will memorize it okay, because this method sees language as the structure. Inductive learning of grammar rules based on dialogues. I mean, when students hear dialogues again and again, they discover rules by themselves. So this method takes grammar inductive method. Okay. Next is use of tapes, visual aids, videos, audios, and language labs would be used. So this method was costly in that regard. Reading and written work based on earlier oral work. Oral work is emphasized, and after that reading and writing work will also based on the oral work. For example, there is like an essay which teacher repeats in the classroom orally, and the students will read and write on the basis of that oral work. So oral work provides basis for reading and writing work. So there would be a hierarchy. After listening, there would be speaking, and there would be reading, and there would be writing. Continued. Intensive oral drills. Teacher will conduct intensive oral drills. I mean, most part of the classroom and classroom activity will consist the repeated oral drills. I will tell you what kind of oral drills would be there in the next slides. Each skill, listening, speaking, reading, writing, is treated and taught separately. So this method or gives importance to all four skills. In previous lectures we discussed about direct method gives importance to two skills. Which skills? The listening and speaking. On the other hand, GTM method provides importance or gives importance to writing and reading. So this method was unique in that scenario, that it gives importance to all four skills. Next we have mother tongue was not given much importance. We don't use mother tongue so much in that method, but is not totally neglected like direct method. I hope you understood. Listening, speaking, reading, writing order. This would be the order of learning. First you will be listening, like you are going to listen to the teacher, then you are speaking, then you are repeating after the teacher. After that you are reading a passage or something like that, and then you are writing. So writing and reading are given less importance, but still they are here in the features of Audiolingual method. Next we have drills and patterns practice. Oral drills. I told you I will explain what the oral drills are. For example, there would be four components in the oral drills. Repetition. The students repeat an utterance as soon as he hears it. For example, this is a chair. Teacher would say this is a chair, and the students would be like this is a chair, without any difference in the utterance. Inflection. One word in a sentence appears in another form and repeated. For example, this is a chair, and students would be like this was a chair. So there is a difference in the inflection. Or for example, he eat the food, and students would say he ate the food. So inflectional differences in the verb, different slight differences, which we call inflectional differences. Replacement, one word is replaced by another, there would be a difference in the one word. And restatement, the student rephrase an utterance, rephrase saying something in a different manner. Okay, let's exemplify what is repetition. For example, teacher say I ate the sandwich, and student repeat after the teacher, I ate the sandwich. No difference at all. There would be no difference in repetition. After that inflection, teacher would say I ate the sandwich, and students, I ate the sandwiches. There's a slight difference, and you can say creative aspect by the learners. Next, replacement, teacher he bought the car for half price, and student he bought it for half price. So there is a replacement, it with a car is replaced with it. Next we have restatement, teacher tell me not to smoke so often, student don't smoke so often. So this is the type of restatement that you are rephrasing in your own words. So this is how language was taught in 1950s in that army method that was firstly used by the army. That's why we call it army method. Next we have additional point, lesson in the classroom focus on the correct imitation of the teacher. Now first of all, we know that students are going to imitate the teacher, so their imitation should be correct with the correct pronunciation and correct words. The students expected to produce the correct output, but attention is also paid to correct pronunciation. The output should be correct. Correct output means the sentence should be correct, and the pronunciation of the sentence would also be correct. Although correct grammar is expected in usage, no explicit grammar instruction is given. Similarly, in the direct method, we don't give explicit explanations about the grammar. Similarly, in that method, the explicit or the direct explanation of grammatical rules are not given. Further, students discover it by their own. Furthermore, the target language is not the only language to be used in the classroom. Little bit mother language can also be used. Not totally restricted like in direct method. What are the advantages? Let's move forward to the advantages of this method. Listening and speaking skills are emphasized. If a learner wants to improve his or her listening and speaking skills, then this method is awesome. Next is the use of visual aids is effective in vocabulary teaching. The videos and the visual aids and the pictures are very good in learning the vocabulary, and this method takes the visual aid. The method is just as functional and easy to execute for large groups. For larger, direct method was not good for the larger groups, but this method was good for the larger groups, but because of repetition is very easy for conducting in the large classrooms as well. Correct pronunciation and structure are emphasized and equipped. And if you, for example, if you want to get the correct pronunciation and structure, then this course is good for you. This methodology is good. It is a teacher-dominated method, right? And the learner is in a directed role. The learner has little control over the material studied or the method of study. So this is not the headache of the learner to think too much. The headache is, shifted to the teacher. Next we have disadvantages. The behaviorist approach to learning is now discredited. Many scholars have proved its weakness. So now in the era we are living, behaviorist approach is not so much privileged. So that's why we can say that this is a disadvantage, that this model or this methodology is using the behaviorist learning approach. It does not pay sufficient attention to communicative competence, because students are just like it's just like robotic repetition. So students are not going to be communicatively competent enough, because they are just repeating the scripted dialogues. Only language form is considered while meaning is neglected. For example, when the students are just repeating after a teacher without knowing the meaning, then meaning is neglecting. Teacher is neglecting the meaning. So this is not a good point here. This is one of the disadvantages. Equal importance is not given to all four skills. So speaking and listening are given more importance instead of writing and reading. It is a teacher dominated method, so this is one of the disadvantages, because students role is ignored somehow. It is a mechanical method. It's a mechanical method that students are just repeating, as it demands pattern practice, drilling and memorization over functional learning and organic usage. Organic usage, natural usage is neglected, and the fake usage of scripted dialogues is emphasized, so this is not good for use if you want to use language in the practical life. The learner is in a passive role. Okay, the learner has little control over their learning, so this is not one of the good points a methodology should have. So this was all today in this video lecture. I hope you like this video. Stay blessed, keep watching my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment the video. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.